You're locked in to the hottest station on the planet.
Resistance is futile. The revolution has begun.
You're listening to Rebelpreneur Radio, helping you break the rules and build the business you need for the life you want. And now, broadcasting his pirate signal
from somewhere beyond the status quo,
here's your host, best-selling author, marketing and media strategist, Ralph Brogden.
Hello and welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio. It's the show that helps you build the business you need so you can live the life you want. I'm Ralph Brogden. You know, the secret, I believe, to building the business you need and living the life you want really comes down to the quality of the experience that you give to your customers and your clients. If you want to build an extraordinary life, I believe the best way to do that is to build an extraordinary business. And for your business to be extraordinary, you have to create an extraordinary experience for your customers or your clients. Customer experience is what separates the extraordinary from the average. And today's guest really exemplifies that in so many different ways. I'm joined by Daniel Linares. He is a professional DJ, a business coach, a brand strategist that helps DJs, wedding vendors, and service-based businesses position themselves as elite in their market so they can work less and earn more, quit their 9-to-5, and become an in-demand, premium-priced brand in their market. Daniel, welcome to Rebelpreneur Radio.
Ralph, you just gave me one heck of an experience right from the beginning. So I appreciate the warm welcome. Super, super warm. And honestly, customer experience comes in all shapes and sizes, and experience in general, I think, is something that I'd love to riff on a bit to your audience. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, and I'm really happy to have you because not only is this what you talk about, it's something that you exemplify. When you go to your website, I get an immediate impression of you, your personal brand. It's a very powerful personal brand. So you are doing a lot of things very well. You are a brand strategist, a business coach, and your focus is on creating extraordinary customer experiences. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the business that you're in and how you learned to create these extraordinary experiences.
Yes. So I guess it all began at the core foundation of treating people well, or treating people in ways sometimes that exceed what people expect. I come from a background where I started working retail like many, many people. And one of my last jobs in 2009 was working for Apple Incorporated in the retail setting. And everybody knows Apple as this brand that just doesn't sell computers, but they sell people an experience. When people buy an Apple product, they feel like they're getting something more than just a phone. And working for Apple for 3 years, something that is now part of my, I would say, DNA is the fact that Apple's codes of service are based off of the Ritz-Carlton standards of service, the leaders in hospitality. And at the time, I just said, oh, cool. Apple is based off of the Ritz-Carlton, but it's the principles that I learned there have carried so strongly into allowing me to really figure out in my own company how to really stand out. And that is treating people in ways that they don't expect outside of your job responsibility. So what do I mean by that? I run an entertainment company. I host these really amazing events all throughout the world. I'm actually in Miami right now. I'm also I'll be in Mexico in a couple of weeks. But I'm based in New York. And primarily what we do is we host an amazing experience. We play amazing music, talented performers, master of ceremonies, amazing lighting. But I believe 49% of the success of your company is your product or service. And then you might say, but what's the other 51%? It's how you treat the customer over the course of the entire experience. And these are actually some statistics that I pull from none other than Danny Meyer, the founder of Shake Shack. And he said what I just shared with you at an event that I was present at, and I couldn't have said it any better. It pretty much means that in a lot of ways, the companies that succeed at the highest level, it's less about the product, but more on how you treat your customer. Product has to be very, very good, but the real companies that win are really great in the customer experience side.
You know, that is so true. And I think we all have stories that we could share, negative testimonials, if you will, of examples where we purchased a product or a service, and while the product or service may have been adequate, the experience was something left to be desired. And so we end up not wanting to refer people to that brand, or we ask for a refund. Or I think you're very, very perceptive in acknowledging that the product and service is important, but it's not even the biggest percentage of what creates loyalty. And what creates it, what really separates the extraordinary from the average, as you say, is how you treat the customer, the experience that you provide them. And it's before, during, and after the sale, not just at the moment up to the sale, and then say, I made the sale, I collected the money, and now you're pretty much on your own. We can't build a successful business with that kind of an attitude.
I did a talk yesterday, and there was a part of it where we spoke about the difference between customer service versus customer experience. Now, the companies that are doing it very, very well and that people are just raving about referring customers to them are the ones that have graduated from the customer service side and graduated them over into customer experience. So what's the big difference? Customer service is more reactive. You may call up a company like AT&T or Verizon. How may I help you? Okay, great. Let me see what I can do for you. So it's very reactive. It's friendly, but sort of dry. You expect them to be doing that because that's their job. Sometimes they may be a little extra friendly, which you're like, whoa, that person was a little extra nice. But for the most part, customer service, same thing in the retail setting. And if you went into an AT&T or Verizon store, they'll treat you kindly, but they'll just say, how can I help you? Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
And that's if you're
lucky. The graduation to that. Sorry, what was that?
That's if you're lucky. If you're lucky, you get that sort of courtesy.
Lucky. That's true. And then the graduation to that is being less of a reactive approach to customers, but more of a proactive approach to customers. And this really cool example that I'll give is, if you're like a member of a VIP club, like either a members only physical club, or like, let's say you're paying for a fancy American Express and they give you the concierge phone service, and they sort of have the notes on the relationship over the last card member since 2005. Hey, we appreciate you being a card member. And by the way, just wanted to remind you, your wife's birthday is coming up in 3 weeks. I have it here in our notes. I know that you called us regarding your travel plans, but last year, you and your wife, we helped you book a trip for you and your wife. We were wondering if we can help you book some plans for her upcoming birthday in 3 weeks. And then you're thinking, whoa, I didn't even expect American Express to suggest that. Actually, I forgot my wife's birthday. Many people forget their wife's birthday. And it's that proactive way of saying, what can I do for my customer at every touch point that's not just reacting to things and me doing things in my job responsibility, but rather proactively trying to do something that they don't expect, that they appreciate beyond belief. And that's ultimately how you get customers that are just going to rave about you over and over again.
Hmm. You work with specifically DJs, wedding vendors, service-based businesses. to help to adopt this philosophy, this mindset, this approach, and to position themselves as elite in their market. Tell us a little bit about who you work with and how do you do that? How do you take them from maybe not being as in demand, being more competitive versus a premium priced brand in their market?
I think a lot of people fail to understand the importance of every arm, or if we use a pizza pie as an example, and we say 8 slices of pizza is every piece of your business, including how you treat them in person, including your website, including your brand, your logo, your video content, including just all the little pieces, right? And I think companies that do average, they probably have a good amount of that pizza pie completely full. Like 0 to 10, each piece is 10 for 4 of them, but then they're lacking, half the pizza is really not really developed on the other side, and they're lacking. So a better analogy is really a tire. If the tire's not full, then you're really lacking in a few areas. But I guess what the analogy I'm trying to paint is this. If you have a business and you have a beautiful storefront, okay, that's one piece of the pie. Then you treat customers really, really well. Wow, you're treating them better than everybody else. I have a dry cleaner that I still use to this day. He calls me by my first name when I walk in. Hey, Daniel, how you doing? Whoa, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting him to treat me on the more customer service side, but he's graduated me to making me feel like a VIP. And really what people need to think about is if they've been stuck in the same place, what in their business or in their personal life is lacking. So a talk that I did yesterday with people that were trying to grow their entertainment and professional wedding services businesses, I was explaining to them that you can't have a website that looks beautiful, but then meet them in a really bad neighborhood in the corner alley in a conference room. You can't. There's people that say, oh, somebody yesterday, how can I grow my floral business so that I can command premium prices and attract the premium clientele? And you know what I told them? You have to model companies in which they buy. So if you want to be one of the highest priced entertainers in the New York City market, which is what my business is, I said to myself, what do my clients like? What are they attracted to? And I modeled their likes and hobbies and created these avatars. So some people know the term of an avatar. Create an exact person of who you want to target. If that's not your current target market, then you need to build your business to that level. So let's say I want to target somebody that's going to pay me $25,000 to host their wedding and bring my entire DJ ensemble, but my entire musician ensemble, and create an incredible experience inspired by a little Justin Timberlake and Cirque du Soleil, and we bring it all in. If I want to target that client, I don't want that $1,000 bride and groom. No offense to them, but my brand should not be speaking to that clientele. So you have to really think in the minds of the people that you are trying to attract, and then work backwards from there. That's why I say create the avatar of somebody, give them a name, give them an age, give them a demographic. What do they like? Where do they travel to? What do they read? What are their hobbies? And then that'll give you a real good breath of, oh, wow, maybe I should look at the 10 companies that they shop at most and maybe model my brand off of them. 9 out of 10 websites are usually not that great. But it's not difficult to model really great websites. Some people, a lot of people start from a blank canvas, like, oh man, what are we going to do with a website? Look for inspiration. The biggest brands in the world are modeling other biggest brands in the world. The iPhone was an iPhone and only the iPhone. And now look at every smartphone. They modeled what was working and then they made it their own. And that's what I would definitely recommend to anybody listening to this. If you're trying to figure out how can I level up, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but admire those that might be doing it exceptionally well in your business or in a lateral business. Like I got inspiration from websites like Rolex.com, Rollsroyce.com, Ferrari, the Ritz-Carlton. These are sites that I got inspiration and said, I want to be the Ritz-Carlton of wedding entertainment and do it at the top of the industry. And I'm still in pursuit of reaching that top perspective, but I modeled other brands, and I appreciate the compliment in the beginning, Ralph, but everything has such an important amount of detail in it. Our brand, we want people to feel a certain way. And all of the pieces of the pie are so important.
You really articulated that very effectively, and I think convincingly to people who are looking at that blank website. They don't know what they should put in there, and they tend to get overwhelmed with the very idea of branding and creating a website and then all of the marketing collateral that they need, and they tend to just zone out and not know what to do. What you're suggesting is very, very simple. Not that there are shortcuts to success, but we can model the success of other people and not try and reinvent the wheel, but figure out who our clients are, what they want, where else do they shop, or what other brands do they enjoy and do they favor with their business? And then insert yourself visually as well as in the voice that you create so that it is congruent. There's congruency between the brand that you're creating and the brand that they already favor with their business.
Yes.
So,
and if any piece of that brand is lacking, that's when you're essentially not who your potential customer thinks you are. And that's what separates the ones that really win and the ones that try so hard but are wondering why they're not able to convert business, because there's pieces of their brand that are not believable. You have to be believable, not in just what you say or the photos you have or the videos you have, but in every piece of the pie. And if there's every piece of the pie, like you just said, Ralph, it's congruent, that's how you win. And that's how people are gladly to pay the highest rates in the category. Like I get paid probably in the top 5-10% in New York City, gladly, because people see my brand, they say, wow. And in their head, wow, the perceived value of this company is way above all the rest. Mm-hmm. Man, these guys are professional. And I want the peace of mind of being in the hands of those kind of people for my big day. And that's how you start to sync with the premium clients. And I think that's so important.
Yeah, very, very powerful. Which leads me to the next question is, when you're working with DJs, wedding vendors, other service-based businesses and professionals, you're trying to position them so that they can become the premium brand in their market. What is the biggest holdup? What is the obstacle that you have to overcome with them to get them to see it the way you see it so that they can actually accomplish this? Is there a big obstacle that you find you always have to overcome with people to get them to that level?
That's a great question. And I think a big part of anybody that's trying to figure out that next ascension level, whether it's starting a business or going from average and really pursuing that premium level. And the overarching answer is mindset. I'm sure you and I both know that the power of just you believing in yourself can go such a long way. But even a little bit deeper in mindset is clarity. There's so many people that are probably listening to this right now that have had an idea for probably more than a year of something that they want to start, something that they want to get into. And they say to themselves, when the time is right, or they say, one day. And you know why they say that? It's because they lack clarity. And anybody who's trying to figure out the clarity side of things is you just have to on a very, very big level, say to yourself, what are my main goals in the next 12 months? What do I want to achieve in the next 12 months? And write out your main goals and then break them down into the smallest, most micro steps you could imagine. If you don't know how to break down, say, the big goal of building a website, have a conversation, or even before that, building a brand, have a conversation with a brand strategist. Get an idea on what it takes. And I think people are so overwhelmed with the thought of, let's use the build a house analogy. You don't just say, okay, today I'm going to go build a house. You say, okay, I need these people that are really great in these different specialty areas, or maybe it's one company that does the whole thing. But even that company that does the contracted job says, all right, we have to have a whole conversation around on walls. And then what is our lighting going to be? That's going to be its own category. What is our lighting going to be? Oh, that's going to be 65 steps. Wow, lighting's going to take a few weeks. So the point is, break it down into those steps, and then your clarity can start to become more clear. Then you can schedule those commitments over those 12 months. Let's pretend you estimate it'll take about that time. And then you're less overwhelmed. You're more intentional. You know what the end goal is, and you know what steps it takes to get there.
Very powerful. And I love your analogy, Daniel, of building the house. You've got subcontractors who they specialize in plumbing, in electric, in pouring the foundation. And you have a general contractor who ties all of those different specialties together. And it could be, just because that the house is going to be yours, it could be that the best move for you to make is not to try and coordinate the efforts of all of those subcontractors, but to just hire a general contractor, give them the vision and say, this is what we want. You tell us what we need to do and who we need to bring in, and then they handle that. And that's kind of how I see your role as the business coach and the brand strategist, my role as the marketing and the messaging strategist, the copywriter. We all have our different specialties, but then there are strategists like architects who bring in that big vision. And being willing to admit that we don't know what we don't know, and relying upon the wisdom and expertise of people who are actually out there in the market and getting it done and making it happen. That is so critically important, whether it's building a house, building a business, building a brand, building a life. So that makes a lot of sense, Daniel.
Self-awareness is everything, Ralph. People, you have to know what you're good at. What are your strengths? I think the best entrepreneurs, they know what they're so good at, and they know what they're so terrible at, and they don't lie to themselves. There's too many people out there that say, I'm going to build my own website and it's going to be great. Stop lying to yourself. You're not a web designer. You don't know what great looks like, and you're wondering why you're not ascending to the next level. It's because that's not your strength. That's not your strength. Like for me, I'm an artist. I love to be educating. I love to be throwing events. I love to be playing music. I love to be around people, which means I enjoy sales. But sales for me is just me talking passionately to somebody. And people have to play to their core strengths. And if you could recognize and say, all right, this is what I'm really good at, and if I want to get to that next level, what other areas do I really need that assistance in? And it's either you get a partner or two, or if you have the funds to hire somebody that is exceptional in the manager leader category. Like for me, I'm not a great manager leader. I've never been the let's get super detailed day to day and my hour by hour allocation. Like I'm not great at that, and I recognize that. That's why I have somebody that helps me in that category. And I just tell people to be honest with yourself. If you're honest with yourself and you seek out the experts in the areas you need help, you'll get to where you want to go faster, or even you'll just get to where you want to go because you'll have that help.
Very, very, very good advice. Very smart. When you're not working, helping others to build their brands, you are creating experiences for your customers and clients. Share with us what you're working on right now or what you are heading into that's got you really excited.
Yeah, so for the last 10 to 12 years, I've been, I had a marketing consulting company that I used to do brand identity and marketing. So I speak the marketing language, and I think that's helped me competitively position my entertainment company. But really, predominant amount of the time has been in just growing the entertainment company. We're based in New York. But then I said to myself, I know I'm capable of doing more. And I was having a conversation with a friend, and they said, why don't you coach people around things that you apply to your business? It's so valuable, because so many people have complimented me on how I've been able to position our brand in our market. He said there's so many people that could use that guidance and that direction. So what I decided was I want to start helping people that are in a service-based business, and particularly the wedding market, and even more particularly DJs. So I could see very quickly, because I haven't been in the coaching strategy space publicly as a personal brand up until recently, I'd say within the last 6 months. But I've been coaching and doing strategy for 10, 15 years. But now I'm putting it into words. Like, a lot of it was just in my head on how I approach my every single day. But now I've put it into words. Now I've created a pathway that'll take people from where they currently are, which might be stuck, and their current reality is not where they want their business to currently be, moving them from that stuck place across a pathway into that hopeful transformation, into that, ultimately where they want to end up. So I kind of like decoded my own approach to business. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm helping people that are in the DJ space, in the wedding space, and it's already happening where I'm helping people outside of that market, because the principles of customer experience apply to every single industry, every single market. I think I understand it well enough to help people apply those principles and put it into their company. And it's like marketing language, and so many companies are communicating with what as the core tone of their brand, and not the why. An example that I use is, like, think of Dell. When you go to Dell.com, they say, hey, buy our great computers. They're 2.4 gigahertz, and they're such a great product, and look how nice the exterior is. It has a glow-in-the-dark button, and it's on sale. Buy our product. And then Apple, on the flip side, they always lead with the why. There's this amazing book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. He's such a genius, because he takes such a complex concept and makes it very simple. And the example he uses with Apple is, Apple doesn't say, hey, we sell computers and you can get them from this price to this price in their marketing. They say, we believe that challenging the status quo to make you a better person and to create a better life is ultimately what true happiness is.
It's very different than the typical computer ad.
Yeah,
isn't it?
they're leading with the why. And if you can communicate the why of your brand and not the what, you're going to win. That's like another piece of the puzzle. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Which is why when I meet with my clients, we never talk about equipment. We barely talk about equipment, because they're buying what I do. They buy the passion. They buy my curiosity for making their event so special. And I just implore people to stop thinking generic. Read the book, Start With Why, start thinking about customer experience. And just those two little tidbits of shifting your mindset to being focused on those can change the game.
Very powerful. I usually ask our guests to give us a final thought or a word of wisdom, but I think that was so powerful. I just don't think you can top it. I think that just sums everything up, that people don't buy the what, they buy the why, and they pay more for the why because of all the things that you just said so eloquently. Daniel, if this resonates with people and they want to get in touch with you and find out more about you and check out the things that you have going on, what's the website? What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Sure, we can connect on social, but I think the fastest way to just see everything that I'm working on is daniel.nyc. I got this fancy short domain, which I'm really happy with because I know on the phone it's much easier to say that. And it's www.daniel.nyc. And that actually redirects right to my full name.com, which is Daniel Linares. And, for me, and I think this might be a nice final thought, Ralph, for me, what's really exciting is giving away stuff that I have in my head to so many people that need to hear it. Something that has become so profound to me over the last several years is something called the give method. Everybody's walking around and they're nervous about telling their little secrets to the next person. And, I don't want to help this person. They may da-da-da-da-da-da. I've noticed the more that I've given free advice to people, the more that reciprocity occurs and the more that opportunities just start to happen. So part of me building a coaching business is me giving a ton of free advice. Here's what you should do. I highly recommend you do this. Oh, you want to get to this point? I really think you should change that. People appreciate that. We're in a world where not a lot of people want to give free advice, which is so crazy. But somebody that I respect so much, who's also a coach in a different industry, he gave me a ton of free advice. And I ultimately got so much value out of him that now I'm a loyal follower of him. I've worked with him on a deeper level. And so that's what I would say to people. Give. You don't have to, it's sort of like give all the what away for free. Here's what you have to do. Give it all away for free. And then coaches, they get paid to show you how to do what you have to do. So you give away the what for free. And then if they want to work with you on a closer level, you could teach them how. And that's ultimately it. But, 95% of the people you talk with are not going to pay you. And that's completely fine with me. But the more that you give away, the more that you help, the more that you help, the more that you help, the more that you're going to attract people that are likely great people and people that ultimately need your help, and they'll be willing to pay you for it because you've already proven that you care. You've already proven your expertise. And, give people, because not only in business, but in personal lives, your relationships will just start to flourish.
Excellent. And that giving and that attitude of giving is really the core of creating a customer experience, whether they buy from you or not. And that, I think, is the big golden nugget here of everything that you just said. We hold back because we're not sure if this person is going to become a client or not, but maybe this is really the next level of creating that extraordinary experience is we treat everyone with respect. We give whatever it is we can give to enrich them, to empower them, whether we get paid for it or not. And some of them are going to become clients. Very powerful principles that you have shared with us today, Daniel Linares. He is a business coach.
There you go.
Yeah, Daniel Linares. He is a business coach and a brand strategist. And you can find out more about him and check out his brand and the things he has going on at daniel.nyc. We'll have that link on the Rebelpreneur website as well. Daniel, it's been a real pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us today on Rebelpreneur Radio. I really appreciate it.
I had such a great time, Ralph. Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Rebelpreneur Radio with Ralph Brogden. Download the show notes and much more at rebelpreneur.com.